Update. I feel like I'm going crazy. Am I the asshole for not wanting to uproot my entire life just because my stepsister is pregnant? I have lived here for years without major issues, at least on my end. And I don't see why Ella's pregnancy suddenly changes everything. I'm not against the idea of moving out eventually, but I want to do it on my terms when I'm financially ready. On the other hand, I know this is technically my stepdad's house and he has the right to decide who lives here, and maybe I am being selfish by not prioritizing Ella's needs during her pregnancy. I know pregnancy can be stressful and maybe having me around really is causing her anxiety, but the thought of being forced out of my home while Ella gets everything she wants yet again makes my blood boil. I'm also worried about my mom. I don't want to put her in a position where she has to choose between me and her marriage, but at the same time I feel like if I leave now I'll be giving up any chance of ever having a real relationship with my stepdad. Or being seen as part of this family. The whole situation has me stressed out and losing sleep. I've started looking at apartments just to appease my stepdad, but my heart isn't in it. Every listing I see just reminds me of how unaffordable everything is and how unprepared I am to live on my right now. Eva for refusing to move out. Should I stand my ground and fight for my place in this family? Or should I just accept that it'll never be as important to them as Ella and her baby? I'm at my wit's end and could use some outside perspective on this mess. Update. A lot has changed since my last update, and I never expected to be writing this. After my last post, things at home got even worse. My stepdad intensified his efforts to get me to leave, making comments about my presence being a burden on the family. Ella's pregnancy symptoms seemed to worsen whenever I was around, and she would dramatically clutch her stomach and complain about stress. The breaking point came during a heated family dinner. My stepdad brought up the topic of me moving out again. I finally snapped. I told them how unfair and hurtful their behavior had been. I reminded them that I paid rent and contributed to the household and that I wasn't ready financially to move out. To my shock and disappointment, my mom took my stepdad's side. She said that while she loved me, Ella's pregnancy had to take priority. She suggested I could stay with my aunt temporarily until I found a place of my own. I felt completely betrayed. Realizing I no longer had any allies in the house, I decided it was time to leave. I spent the next few weeks frantically searching for an affordable apartment, and eventually found a tiny studio on the other side of town. It wasn't ideal, but it was all I could manage on my entry-level salary. Moving out was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I felt angry, hurt and abandoned by my family. The first few months on my own were tough. That I had to budget carefully to make ends meet, often skipping meals or picking up extra shifts at work to cover my expenses. Over time, though, things got better. I threw myself into my job and eventually got a promotion. I made new friends in my apartment building and started to enjoy the freedom of living on my own. I even adopted a cat, something I could never have done at my stepdad's house. Due to Ella's alleged allergies, my relationship with my mom and stepdad became distant. We talk occasionally on the phone, but our conversations are always superficial. They never apologized for how they treated me, and I never fully forgave them. I didn't visit the house not wanting to deal with Ella or be reminded of the painful memories. I heard through some relatives that Ella had given birth to a baby boy. My mom sent me a picture, but I didn't respond. I couldn't bring myself to feel happy about the new addition to a family that had cast me aside. Life went on, and I slowly built a new normal for myself. I dated a bit, made progress in my career, and even started therapy to deal with a lingering pain from my family's situation. I was doing okay. Not great, but okay. Then about a week ago, everything changed again. I received a call from my mom. She was crying so hard that I could barely understand her. When she finally calmed down enough to speak, what she told me left me speechless.